Like, he was literally standing there, as you can see, just so relaxed and calm. Like, he didn't expect anything to happen. And to me, that's crazy, especially when you take in consideration the location. I can tell you right now, one of the worst places you want to ever get into a fight is a gym. So by now, I'm pretty sure you lot have all heard about Jeff Nippard being attacked in the gym simply because they had a kind of disagreement over training principles, which is kind of crazy to hear.
We all know the science-based guys. Any top three you choose. Tell me if you would describe their physique as excellent, average, or mediocre. And where would you put them in that? I guarantee you it's not in excellent. Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much? Because if I knew a lot of shit, I would be very well-versed and good at that topic, right? Like, say I was some financial wizard. I knew how to, like, read the stock market. I'd be fucking rich, right? People would be like, yeah, he's a fucking genius, because, like, look at him, he applied it, and it fucking worked. Bodybuilding, you can be like this big, somehow you're an expert on muscle, but you don't have any. And if you do have any, it's not that well put together, and there's a lot of like holes in the physique, and you've prided yourself on being strong. Fucking little, but I'm strong. Sadly, you do need to apply what it is that you know for people to trust you. But they got these fucking nerds, or these fucking dorks.
I will say, in that long run, you can definitely tell who he's probably talking about, especially now that the fact that we know they go to the same gym. But Jeff's physique is not like basic, you know what I mean? Even if he was assisted, even though, you know, he's natural, his physique is exceptional, and he's one. Actually, you know what? I don't even need to break down his accomplishments, because the thing that actually elevated this to the next level is Jeff's response, because he does reply to this.
We all know the science-based guys. Science guys really need to answer this question before anything. Why is it that you remain so mediocre, yet you know so much?
I know I don't need to respond to this, but since he asked, using science-based training, I won Natural Bodybuilding Nationals. I earned my pro card on the most competitive stage in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. I placed second in my first bodybuilding pro show, and while doing this, I set the Canadian record on the bench press, and I set a provincial record on the squat. I currently weigh 180 pounds at 5'5" tall, which is pretty close to my natural limit given my height and my genetics. That's all besides the point though, because facts are facts. Information is either right or wrong. It doesn't matter who that information is coming from. If the people with the best physiques had the most knowledge, why would C-Bum need a coach? He has the best physique on the planet. Who could possibly know more than him? Well, it's pretty obvious that bodybuilding success comes from great genetics and really hard training, and if you want to make it in the IFBB, steroid use.
So there we have it. Jeff responded, and he basically broke down Mike's points, and let's be real, if this was a debate, he basically dismantled him. He made the Mike person look stupid, and that is a part of the issue. So if you've seen Chris Jones's response, I thoroughly agree with that. I'll show you in a minute, but basically the gist he was saying in his video is that even though we all clearly know that Mike was wrong, like for many aspects, one being him being the big dude going against Jeff, is kind of like a bully kind of mentality, and in general assaulting him over the idea of what training style is best is just, you know what I mean? That's just like insane. You have to almost put it down to roid rage. Why else would you risk your livelihood and image over something so small? So it's got to be like some deep disdain he has for him, which, being honest, if you watch the video when he was talking about someone who sounds a lot like Jeff, it looked like he really did hate it. Like the look of disgust in his face, you could see it's intense. But with all that being said, I do believe that even though Jeff is the victim, there's certain things that you have to kind of understand when you're dealing with someone that really doesn't like you, especially if someone, I'm just going based off looks, who looks as rough as that Mike character does. Like, Jeff does look pretty prim and proper. I don't know if he is, but he seems very like, he doesn't seem like his street smarts was with him. And that's going to sound messed up because, as I said, Jeff is the victim. But I feel like it's a good message to show other people, because even when you are in the right, you still need to act in a way that serves your best interests, like self-defense and everything. So if you're watching here, this is the initial standpoint of what it is. You see him approaching Jeff with a very sinister look on his face, if I'm being completely honest. And Jeff seems happy, like he's smiling, which to me is already a red flag, but I don't want to dwell on it too much. He is the victim. But to me, if a big guy, 6 foot something, walks upon you at 5'5", who you know hates you and dislikes you, walks upon you like this, personally, I'ma act differently, and I would hope anyone that I know would think, you know, be in defensive mode, like have your hands near, like his hands aren't even on screen, which means his hands were behind him, which to me didn't seem smart, you know.
Damn. Damn.
And to give it further context, Jeff put out like a little community post giving an update as to what exactly happened. So let's put the actual things into context, because the more in context you put it, the worse it kind of sounds. So I'm not going to read it all, but in summary, in this whole bit of text here, Jeff basically states that he was at the gym filming a video. Mike brushes past him, tries to little bro him, which is what he's trying to do. He's giving him a little shove, and Jeff responds back with like a chuckle, as if to say, what? And obviously that kind of elevated again, because in these scenarios, I'm telling you, this is the worst thing. So Jeff chuckles and laughs, which kind of gets Mike more angry. And that's when Mike turns around and says, I'll show you something that's real funny. And basically that's when the assault basically takes place. He apparently hits Jeff in the throat, hits him to the ground. And when Jeff gets up, he does it again. So yeah, not great. Like in all aspects, Mike still comes out like the villain and a bully, to be honest, because I don't think if it was Mike Israetel who was talking about, who is, you know, back to a lot of science, and I'm going to use Mike Israetel simply because he's also a man, but he's trained in like, what was it, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I highly doubt that this Mike would have went up to Mike Israetel and choked him out in the throat and walked off. He knew his target. Like, he had a feeling, and looking at Jeff, he's the nerd, and he assumed that nothing would probably come of it. Like, he's not going to beat him back. And even if he tried to fight back, he probably felt pretty secure that he'd probably beat Jeff, which is probably true. However, that is what makes you a bully. However, I'm going to show what Chris Jones says and show why. I ain't gonna lie, maybe it's an ethnic black thing, because as soon as I saw Chris Jones' response, I thoroughly understood what he meant. Whereas I did see he got a lot of backlash at first, people saying that he's victim blaming, which I don't think is victim blaming. It's more or less making yourself aware of what can happen when you elevate things. Like, even though Jeff technically didn't start it, he definitely elevated it when he made that video showcasing Mike's face, because it wasn't like a subliminal shot. Then you've actually actively put it one step up. So I'll let Chris say his piece and see if you guys understand, or if you thoroughly disagree with me as well as Chris, and what's your thoughts in general. Be interested to know in the comments.
So, my personal opinion now, even though Mike was wrong, Jeff could have avoided this situation. Not victim blaming. All I'm saying is, it's obvious Jeff didn't want no smoke. This man walked up to him aggressively, hand up like this, and he just stood still with his hands behind his back. See, Jeff has a lot of faith in humanity.
Obviously, we all know Mike's wrong because Jeff didn't expect it. Jeff's smaller than him. There's so many aspects into what makes this in Jeff's favor of being like the innocent one. Clearly, we all know he's innocent. I know he's innocent. You know that. However, the world is full of fucked up people, and you have to move accordingly. So if you know you train in the gym with someone that despises you, there's ways to de-escalate the situation. You chucking at a guy like that is already gonna like aggravate a bully. And that's before you even put into context the video. Like, let's be real, that video that Jeff did, it made Mike look stupid. Like, the amount of comments that Mike probably got calling him an idiot and stupid and Jeff's right and Jeff made you look dumb, that is gonna bruise your ego. And Jeff being as big as he is on the platform and as wide as he is, he should know when you're putting out this guy's face, you've one-upped it. This ain't a subliminal shot. Like, if Jeff made that exact same video but didn't put Mike's face in it, it would be almost the same level. Everyone would know who's talking about who, but it's a bit more vague. But as soon as you put his face in it, that is something that's going to get his back up, and you've one-upped it. So obviously Mike's not going to like match your level. He's going to go one-up again because he thinks you've disrespected him, even though Mike started it. So if you know this person goes to your gym and can actually reach you, and he probably dislikes you heavily, and he doesn't seem like the nicest of people, you should know that you can't play with someone like that and not expect something back in some form of altercation. Maybe not to this extent, but you feel like something's going to come, in my opinion. And obviously from there, it goes higher and higher until, you know, he chokes him out and throws him on the floor. But just wild.
Again, this situation could have been avoided. Jeff knows, according to Mike, and I believe him, Jeff knows exactly how he feels about him. No secret. And if you notice, fam, peep the game. In Mike's video, the one we saw earlier, he didn't mention no names. He said science guys.
We all know the science-based guys.
Even though he may have clearly been talking about Jeff, and most people would have known that, he didn't put Jeff's name in it. He wanted him to know it was probably about him, and everyone knew that, but he didn't. Him not putting his face in is what makes it just more of a subliminal. Because you could easily say, oh, maybe it wasn't. There's a lot of science-based guys. But once you took it to the public sphere, that just elevates it. And especially because Jeff's light is so large. Like, hasn't he got like 7 million subscribers? You're publicly dismantling someone in such a, yes, polite and nice way. But it was a little bit smug. Let's be real. Jeff was a little bit smiling in that because he knew that, yeah, I've got you here, buddy. You talking about you have to have the best physique, you have the best knowledge, was a stupid argument. Everyone knows that. NFL coaches teach NFL players to do good moves. Same with boxing. So it was a very dumb point, and Jeff knew he had him, which is why he looked kind of smug in his video. But you should know when putting that into the world that he's probably going to approach you and something's going to happen.
Talk about these laws of the land and things like that, but you got to understand, there's unwritten laws that a lot of men live by. He could have just simply ignored that. If he would have ignored that, I promise you, I'm willing to bet that assault would have never happened.
See, I don't fully agree there. I don't think he had to ignore it, but he definitely didn't mean to one-up it. If he had made that exact same video, but didn't put Mike's face in it, he would have a better leg to stand on, in my view anyway. He would have been like, it's subliminal for subliminal, you know what I mean? Maybe Mike still would have done what he did. We don't know for sure. But once you put his face on it and give it 1 million so views, that's going to definitely, you know, ruffle feathers.
And a lot of rappers do this. You know how you send a subliminal shot at somebody, and then that rapper will send a subliminal shot back, no names mentioned?
So basically, that is the gist I'm trying to get at. Like, I don't want to play Chris's whole video because he's probably going to echo very similar sentiments I'm saying, but that is how I literally think about it. It's like shot for shot. It's like before the Kendrick and Drake situation happened, and obviously they're not like us that demolished Drake. Before then, they always had subliminal shots back, and it always stayed subliminal. And we saw what happens when finally some people start doing proper, you know what I mean, like direct shots. The fallout's crazy. That was not a good fallout. And what I'm saying is that is almost the equivalent, or this is almost the equivalent of that. I'm saying that Jeff should have known that something may come back and be prepared for it. And if he is prepared for it, that's fine. But in that moment, you can tell he wasn't. Like he was literally standing there, as you can see, just so relaxed and calm. Like he didn't expect anything to happen. And to me, that's crazy, especially when you take in consideration the location. I can tell you right now, one of the worst places you want to ever get into a fight is a gym. And I'm not even talking about because the other person may grab a weight and hit you. That's literally lower down, because if someone's doing that, they're trying to kill you. I'm more thinking that you could be scrapping and it's so easy to hit your head. Like even how this just happened right now. I mean, like, look at it. Where Jeff fell, literally, if he had just fell, what's that, 7-8 inches to the right and fell on that, but with his head, you know how bad this could have been? Jeff, he was moving as if him being in the right was good enough to protect him, which isn't the case, because we all know there's scum in the world. Like there's a whole bunch of people that don't live by morality. There's a bunch of people that have their own set of rules or own set of morals, and they may not line up with yours. Jeff is acting like a reasonable human, whereas this dude's not. So you can't have those two things in the same scenario. And you did punch back at the bully, and you did so very well, given your platform size as well. You gotta think, you can bring it back to old school kiddie bully days, right? If the big bully's always picking on the little quiet nerd, right? But one day that nerd says something back and he gets the bully good and everyone starts laughing at the bully. If you're the nerd that's doing that, you've got to know that if you're willing to do that, that something else is going to come back. And I'm not saying that you should stay a victim. I'm just saying that you should be prepared. So if you say something like that to the bully and the bully gets made fun of, everyone start laughing at him, you should know that that's not going to be the end of it. He's going to probably come back at you and you need to be prepared for whatever that thing is. And I think Jeff wasn't. The fact he did this and then the barging, which was a clue, and you still didn't pick up the signs and you still just stood there, chin out, arms behind your back. To me, you know what I mean? It's like you wasn't preparing to defend yourself in the worst case scenario, which is why he managed to get you throat, and then you got up and you done it again. But as a whole, hope this didn't come off like I'm victim shaming, like I've said 1,000 times. But let me know what you guys think. Like, what would you have done in this scenario? But yeah, that's what's my thoughts anyway. Once again, Mike is clearly in the wrong. I'm just saying that, just as advice people out there, if you're ever in a similar situation, you need to be prepared and act accordingly. You need to have good street smarts, because you can't expect everyone to act like they should, because they don't. That's the reason why we have prisons, because some people just act out of pocket.
We're not victim blaming here.
Anyways, people, I don't want to talk about this too long. I just thought it was an interesting topic, and a few people asked me my thoughts on it, and it's just an easy way for me to just send this one video. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below.